In the humid sprawl of Savannah, Georgia, where live oaks draped moss over streets that crumbled into dust, 11-year-old Jack Riley lived with his uncle, Cal, in a shotgun house that sagged under the weight of years. Jack was a lanky kid, all sharp angles and freckles splashed across his nose. His red hair a wild tangle beneath a faded ball cap, his gray eyes glinting with a hunger for something beyond the city's edges. His parents had split when he was too young to remember their faces, leaving him with Cal, a gruff ex-cop with a limp from a busted knee and a habit of taking in strays, human and otherwise. The house was their kingdom, its peeling paint and warped floors a map of stories Jack swore he'd uncover someday. Savannah buzzed with summer heat in early August, the air a thick, wet blanket that clung to everything. Cicadas whined from the trees, their drone a constant hum over the clatter of tourists snapping photos downtown, their voices drifting up from the riverfront. Jack's domain was the alleys and back lots, narrow trails he'd tear through on his rusted bike, abandoned patches where he'd scavenge bits of junk, his pockets always jingling with bolts, coins, and odd scraps he'd hoard like treasure. Cal let him roam, his growl a familiar refrain. Keep your eyes sharp, kid. No dumb moves. Jack would nod, his cap tipping, but his mind was on legends, pirate gold he dreamed, buried under Savannah's bones, waiting for him to claim it. That morning, the sky hung low and gray, storm clouds brewing over the marshes, the air electric with the promise of rain. Jack stood on the porch, barefoot in a patched t-shirt and jeans, a crowbar in his hands he'd swiped from Cal's shed after breakfast. He'd planned to poke around the creek that cut through the neighborhood, hunting for rusted cans or maybe a turtle to show off, but the house creaked different. Today, something shifting, a groan from below that wasn't just the wind. He stepped inside, the floorboards bowing under his weight, and froze as a bark hit him, a deep, rolling sound, urgent and alive, rising from beneath the living room's loose planks. Jack's cap slipped as he tilted his head, the crowbar suddenly heavy in his grip. It came again, louder, muffled by wood but sharp enough to prickle his skin. Cal was out, grocery run, his truck rumbling off an hour ago, and Jack's grin spread wide, danger sparking in his blood like a match. He dropped to his knees, the floor cool against his palms, and ran his fingers over a board that sagged more than the rest, its nails rusted and loose. He jammed the crowbar under it, his arms flexing, dust puffing up as the wood groaned and lifted. A pair of blue eyes gleamed up from the crawl space below, bright as sapphires. Fierce but warm, belonging to a dog, big and shaggy, black as coal, its bark echoing in the dark. Jack's heart leapt. Treasure wasn't coins or jewels today. It was this, a living secret, and he'd make it his own. The crawl space was a tight, earthy pit. Beneath the house, its air thick with the stench of rot and damp soil, the walls a tangle of roots and cobwebs that brushed Jack's face as he wriggled in. The crowbar scraped against dirt, his cap snagging on a low beam, but he pushed forward, the dog's bark guiding him through the gloom. Light filtered from the gap above, slanting across the shaggy black beast. Pressed against a wooden chest, its blue eyes locked on Jack with an intensity that made his breath catch. The floorboards creaked overhead, the house settling, but Cal's warnings, "Don't mess with the house, Jack," were drowned by the thrill pumping through him. This wasn't mess, it was destiny calling. Up close, the dog was massive, its fur matted with dust and grime, its broad shoulders hunched, paws scarred from clawing at the dirt. A chain collar hung around its neck, heavy and rusted, a tag dangling with scratched letters. Cole, number 12. It nosed Jack's hand, its tail thumping against the chest despite the tremble in its frame, and Jack grinned, patting its head with a shaky hand. Hey, Cole, you've been down here a while, huh? The chest was old, its wood splintered and dark with age, a padlock rusted shut. Faint carvings of ships and swords etched into its lid. Pirate marks, Jack thought, his pulse racing. Cole pawed at it, a low whine escaping his throat, and Jack knew this wasn't random. The dog was guarding it, tied to whatever lay inside. He wedged the crowbar under the lock, his arms straining, dirt smearing his freckled cheeks as he leaned his weight into it. The metal groaned, resisting, and Cole barked sharper, his blue eyes urging him on. Jack grit his teeth, his sneakers digging into the earth, and yanked harder, sweat beading on his brow. The lock snapped with a crack, the lid creaking open on stiff hinges, and Jack's jaw dropped. Silver coins glinted inside, worn and tarnished, stacked beside. Yellowed maps and a flintlock pistol, its barrel pitted but real. Holy, he breathed, his hands hovering over the hull, pirate treasure straight out of his dreams. Cole's eyes flared then, a sapphire glow, bright and sudden, cutting through the dark, and a vision slammed into Jack, a man in a tricorn hat, his face weathered and grim, burying the chest under flickering torchlight, a shaggy black dog. Chained nearby, its barks echoing as waves crashed in the distance. The man muttered, "Keep it safe, boy," his hands packing dirt, and the vision faded, leaving Jack gasping, his fingers clutching Cole's fur. "You showed me that. Your kin, huh?" Cole licked his hand, steady and warm, and Jack's mind spun. This dog wasn't just a stray. He was history, a piece of the past breaking through. Footsteps thudded above, heavy and uneven. Cal's came tapping the floorboards, his voice rough with worry. "Jack, what in hell's that racket down there?" Jack scrambled up, dragging the chest behind him, Cole leaping out with a shake that sent dust flying. He shoved the loose board aside, his arms aching, and hauled himself into the living room, the dog at his heels. Cal burst through the kitchen door, his grocery bags dropping, his eyes widening. At Cole's bulk, then the chest spilling silver across the rug. "Holy hell, kid, where'd this come from?" Jack panted, his cap askew, grinning wide. "Under the floor, Cal." Cole led me right to it. Cal knelt, his bad knee creaking, his fingers tracing a coin as he muttered. Old Lowery's stash, smuggler, vanished in the swamps. Cole's glow pulsed, soft but steady, and Jack felt it, a bond sealing tight, tying him to this dog, this treasure, in a way he'd never let go. The living room dimmed as dusk settled over Savannah, the chest open on the threadbare rug, its coins glinting in the flickering light of a lamp Cal had flicked on. Jack sat cross-legged beside Cole, the dog sprawled out, his shaggy black fur still shedding dirt, his blue eyes half closed but fixed on Jack with a quiet trust. Cal paced behind them, his cane tapping a restless rhythm, his weathered face creased with a mix of awe and suspicion as he studied the hall. "Lowery, rum runner, back in the 1800s, he said, his voice low and gravelly. "Heard tales growing up. Pirate turned smuggler. Hid his take all over these parts. This chest's gotta be his. Worth a damn fortune if it's real." Jack ran his fingers through Cole's fur, feeling the dog's warmth, the vision still vivid in his mind. The tricorn man, the chained hound, the stormy night. Thunder rumbled outside, real now, the sky darkening with the storm Jack had sensed all morning, and he felt a shiver. Cole wasn't just a find. He was a key, a living link to that buried past. "He showed me, Cal," Jack said, his voice steady despite the excitement buzzing in his chest. "Lowery burying it, his dog watching. Cole's like him, been waiting down there." Cal paused, his cane stilling, and squinted at Cole's glowing eyes. "Waiting? Kid, that's crazy talk. Dogs don't last centuries." Before Jack could argue, a sharp knock rattled the front door, 3 loud bangs. That made Cole's hackles rise, a low growl rumbling from his throat. Cal straightened, his cop instincts kicking in, and grabbed a baseball bat from the umbrella stand by the couch. "Stay put, Jack," he muttered, limping to the door and cracking it open. A woman stood on the porch, sleek in a gray suit despite the humid air, a badge pinned to her lapel. Voss, Antiquities Division. Her hair was pulled tight, her eyes sharp as she peered past Cal. "Calvin Riley?" she asked, her tone clipped and official. "That chest you've got, it's state property, part of Lowery's haul. Historical asset. And that dog, collateral, lineage we've been tracking. I need them both." Cal gripped the bat, his knuckles white. "Found it fair and square under my floorboards. Ain't yours to take." Voss smirked, her gaze flicking to Cole, whose blue glow flared brighter, casting eerie shadows across the room. "It's documented. Lowery's smuggling-funded wars. That makes it ours. And the dog, genetic anomaly, tied to his line. You've got till dawn, or we come back with a warrant." Cole's growl deepened, his eyes locking on Voss, and a vision hit Jack, her in. An office, maps of Savannah spread out, files marked Lowery Project, sketches of dogs with glowing eyes. "She's lying," Jack blurted, jumping up. "They want him for something else. Experiments, maybe." Voss' eyes narrowed, but she stepped back, her heels clicking on the porch. "Dawn, Riley, don't test me." She turned, disappearing into the gathering storm, but her voice lingered on a radio crackle. "Set the watch, north side." Cal slammed the door, locking it, his breath ragged. "Greedy bastards, Cole's more than a damn artifact." Jack knelt by the dog, his hands buried in Cole's fur, whispering, "You're mine now, boy. No one's talking you." Cole's glow steadied, his blue eyes fierce, and Jack felt it, a bond deeper than treasure, a fight brewing they'd face together. The house grew still as night pressed in, the storm breaking over Savannah. With a roar, rain lashing the windows and drumming the roof like gunfire. Jack sat by Cole on the rug, the chest pushed under the couch, his crowbar tracing idle lines in the dust while the dog's bulk warmed his side. Cal leaned against the wall, bat swapped for a shotgun he'd pulled from a locked case in his room, his eyes darting to every creak of the old house. "Voss ain't bluffin'," he growled, peering through the blinds at the street, where shadows moved in the downpour. "State don't move this fast unless it's big. Cole's got something they're scared of." Cole's ears twitched, his growl rumbling low, and his blue glow flared sharp and sudden. A vision crashed into Jack. Voss' sleek car parked 2 blocks down, leading a convoy of black SUVs, men in rain gear spilling out, flashlights cutting through the deluge as they fanned toward the house. "Cal!" Jack yelled, bolting up, his crowbar clattering. "They're here right now." Cal spun, shotgun ready, his face set hard. "Back porch, go kid." Jack hauled Cole up, the dog's weight heavy but steady, his trust a rock in the chaos. Cal flung the back door open, rain blasting in, soaking the floorboards, and Jack stumbled out, Cole at his heels. "Open up, Riley." Voss' voice boomed from the front, fists pounding the door, followed by the splinter of wood as it gave way. Cal shoved Jack forward, his cane slipping in the mud. "Alley run." Jack bolted, Cole's shaggy form splashing beside him, the rain blinding as flashlights swept the yard, too close, beams grazing the dog's black fur. They hit the alley, boards slick under Jack's sneakers, his breath hitching as thorns from overgrown bushes snagged his jeans. A shot cracked, not at them, a warning into the sky, and Cal roared, "Back off, damn it," turning to swing his shotgun barrel up. Jack didn't stop, his legs pumping, Cole's glow pulsing through the dark. A vision flickered, an old mill, east beyond the oaks, its walls hidden by vines, a refuge in the storm. "There!" Jack swerved, his voice raw, Cal limping behind as shouts grew louder. They're heading east. Cut him off. Voss barked, her tone furious. The mill loomed ahead, a rotting shell half swallowed by the swamp, its door hanging crooked. Jack shoved it open, wood splintering under his shoulder, and slipped inside. Cole bounding after, Cal staggering in last. The air was thick with mold and decay, the floor littered with rusted tools and broken crates, but it hid them. Outside, boots splashed past, Voss' voice snapping. Lost them in the rain. Check the mill. Jack sank against a wall, panting, Cole pressing close, his blue glow dimming but steady. Cal lowered the shotgun, wiping rain from his face, his breath fogging. That dog knew the way. Damn near saved us, he whispered, awe cutting through his gruffness. Jack nodded, his freckled hands buried in Cole's wet fur, whispering, "You're my treasure, boy." Cole's growl softened, a vow etched in sapphire. They'd fight this together, no matter how close the hunters got. The mill was a cold, dripping cave, its beams groaning under the storms. Wait, the air heavy with the stench of mold and swamp water seeping through the cracks. Jack huddled beside Cole, the chest dragged in and tucked behind a pile of mildewed crates, the dog's shaggy bulk a shield against the chill. Cal leaned against a rusted tractor frame, shotgun across his knees, a lantern flickering beside him, one he'd snatched from the porch on their way out, its weak light dancing on the walls. The rain hammered outside, drowning the distant shouts of Voss' team as they swept the oaks, their flashlights faint pinpricks in the deluge, but the tension hung thick. Jack knew they wouldn't quit. Cal flipped a silver coin between his fingers, his voice low and rough. Lowery's dogs, bred for guarding, loyal to the death. Cole's gotta be from that line, enhanced somehow, maybe by folks after Lowery's time. Jack nodded, the vision still sharp, the smuggler's hands, the chained hound, the chest sinking into dirt. He shows me stuff, Cal, protects it, like his kin did. A crunch broke the quiet, boots on gravel, deliberate and close. Cal tensed, raising the shotgun, but a familiar voice cut through. Cal? Jack. It's Faye. Miss Faye, the librarian from down the street, stepped into the lantern light. Her raincoat soaked, glasses fogged, a bag of books slung over her shoulder, and her old truck idling outside. Saw those suits rollin' up, she said, brushing wet hair from her face as she knelt by Cole. Knew you'd run, heard the shot. Her eyes widened at Cole's blue glow, her breath catching. What in God's name is he? Jack spilled it all. The bark, the floorboards, the chest, Voss threats, his voice steady despite the tremble in his hands, his cap dripping onto the floor. Faye traced Cole's tag with a finger, then pulled a small scanner from her bag. A clunky thing she used for rare books at the library. She ran it over the dog, pausing at a faint scar under his fur, the screen flashing codes in red. Genetic marker. Old line. Tampered with. Shows visions, huh? Lowery's crew bred M, but someone kept it going. Experiments, maybe. Cal grunted, shifting his bad leg. Explains Voss. Cole's proof they messed with something they shouldn't. Jack's chest tightened. He wasn't just a kid with a dog. He was in deep, tied to a secret bigger than he'd guessed. Flashlights swept closer, Voss' voice barking through the rain. Mill's next. Tear it apart. Faye's head snapped up, her glasses glinting. We can't stay, they'll rip through here. She grabbed her radio, its static crackling. My place. West side. Got a cellar they won't find. We hide him there, sort this out. Jack lifted Cole, the dog's weight grounding him, whispering, We're good, boy. You're mine. Cal hefted the chest, his cane tapping, and they slipped out the mill's back. Faye leading to her truck through a curtain of vines. The drive was tense, rain lashing the windshield, headlights off as they wound. Through back streets, the oaks blurring into shadow. Faye's cottage loomed, cozy, cluttered with books, and they hustled inside. Faye guiding Cole to a hidden cellar beneath the kitchen, its trapdoor masked by a rug. She settled him on a blanket, checking his paws with a gentle touch. "He'll heal up," she said. "But they'll keep hunting. We need a plan." Jack sank beside Cole, his freckled hands stroking the dog's fur, the blue glow. A quiet vow. They'd guard this bond, this treasure, no matter who came crashing through. The cottage's cellar glowed faintly under a dawn sky, its stone walls solid. Against Savannah's sprawl, the air cool and dry as Jack sat beside Cole, a quilt draped over his knees to ward off the chill. The storm had eased, leaving a soft drip from the oaks outside, and Cole rested on the blanket, his black fur catching the light of a single bulb. Faye had strung up, his breathing steady as he gnawed a bone she'd tossed him. Cal stood by the trapdoor, shotgun propped against the wall, sipping coffee. Faye had brewed upstairs, his bad legs stretched out with a wince. Faye knelt nearby, sorting through Lowery's maps from the chest, yellowed. Parchment marked with smuggling routes, caches dotted across the coast, proof of a network long buried. "This could sink Voss," she muttered, adjusting her glasses. "Get it to the right folks. Press, maybe, and they're done." Jack ran his hand along Cole's flank, the dog's soft growl a comfort as his blue eyes flickered. "Why me, huh?" he murmured, his voice low, the question hanging in the damp air. Faye glanced over, her smile warm despite the bags under her eyes. "He chose you, Jack," Lowery's echo call it. "That bond's yours now, visions and all." Jack's chest swelled. He wasn't just the alley kid anymore, scavenging for scraps. He was part of something old, something fierce. Cal set his mug down, his gruff voice softening. "They gonna take him, Faye?" She shook her head, firm. "Not if we move fast. Hide him deeper, get this out." The cellar was quiet, the dawn calm, but Cole stirred, his ears pricking as a faint whine escaped his throat. His blue glow flared, sharp and bright, and a vision hit Jack. Voss in a tent, pitched by the mill, maps spread on a folding table, men in rain gear nodding as. She pointed west toward the cottage, her voice cold. "They're close. Find that house." The image shattered, and Jack jolted up, the quilt slipping to the stone. "Cal, Faye, they're coming, right now." Faye cursed, grabbing her radio, its static crackling as she twisted the dial. "Signal spotty. Damn storm, but they're on us, all right." Cal snatched his shotgun, his face hard. "North, my buddy's place in the swamps. We move him there." Faye nodded, already dragging a crate from a corner, its slats sturdy enough for Cole. Jack helped, his hands quick as he lifted the dog, his weight familiar now. Whispering, "We're okay, boy, you're mine." Cal tucked the chest under his arm, his cane tapping, while Faye grabbed the maps, stuffing them into her bag. They hustled up the trapdoor, piling into Faye's truck, Cole's crate wedged in. The back, the engine roaring to life as she gunned it north, headlights off, the streets a blur of fog and shadow. Jack's heart pounded, his fingers gripping Cole's fur through the crate's gaps. The glow flickering like a lighthouse in the dark. The city faded, the swamps swallowing the truck's tracks, but headlights flared. In the rear view, sharp, fast, cutting through the mist. Voss SUVs, closing the gap, their engines a low snarl over the squelch of mud. Faye swore, swerving onto a rutted path, branches scraping the sides. Jack clutched Cole tighter, his blue eyes meeting his through the slats, the glow spiking bright. "What's your bond worth, huh?" he asked, his voice bold despite the fear clawing his throat. Cole's bark rose, deep and fierce, a sound that shook the crate, a promise. Unfolding, a vow that he'd stay with Jack, no matter the hunt. Cal gripped his shoulder, gruff but steady. "He's your treasure, kid. Hold tight." The truck jolted over roots, Voss lights flashing closer, and Jack steeled. Himself, this was just the start, and with Cole by his side, he was ready.